Yes, we just started, so we're live here.
Okay, on this one, remember, I like to go interactive with folks, so if we
Unmute
can
everybody. Yep.
unmute, yeah. And as long as I see Hank Babbitt, as long as he doesn't start cussing at me, we're good.
Unmute all. Unmute all is.
I would never do that, Mark.
Okay, looks
Did
like
unmute all, but it didn't unmute all.
and now I get to show
Them
screen.
individually.
Okay, Jeff, do you want to give everyone kind of the instructions on the use of questions, chat, and then I'll pick up from there. And hopefully everyone's unmuted and we can.
Yeah, I'm going through the unmuting process. It's just not unmuting all at once. So I'll do it individually, but I think they're all veterans here on the call. Looks like everyone's been in before, but just in case you haven't been, we will be going through, Mark will be going through, sharing some best practices, tips, and ideas, recommendations, but also open for questions along the way with any challenges or opportunities that you might want to have us take a look at and give you some advice on how you can use the platform for. If you want to mute yourself, you're unmuted, but if you want to mute yourself, you can do that, and we'll take it from there. Otherwise, questions will be coming through the question box, and we'll do our best to address them along the way.
Okay. So let's just, again, this session is meant to be interactive. It's meant for you to be able to ask me a question, and let's work through a particular use case or different use case, something you want to test in terms of possibilities. Enter just tips and tricks, and don't be shy. And remember, you have to unmute. You can also type a question in, and we'll react to it in the course of the process. Okay, let me pick on you since I know your mic works. What questions have you had now that you've had access to the platform? You had that first experience when we were together back in Allentown.
Yeah. Well, one question I had, so since this is the perfect persona GPT is kind of now inside my chat GPT, right?
Right.
So
you'll see it mount here. So when you connect, you'll see it mount here on the left and be available.
Yeah. No, I see it, and I've seen it, but I guess my question is, so now that it's in there, is it, if I have something, I don't know, I mean, all of my stuff in chat GPT is actually related to work, but so sometimes I go into new chat when it's not specific to trying to, I guess it seems like Perfect Persona GPT is trying to create, like it says it's trying to create a detailed client avatar, and then so helping to understand the target market. So when I had some general questions, or when I had like a lease analysis I had to do, I just went into chat in regular GPT. But is it all integrated now? Like one's the same, like it doesn't matter?
No, each one is being shaped to focus more uniquely. So I like, that's why I started the CRE Mentor. And unless I'm doing, let me just reverse that. I started the CRE Mentor most of the time. And because I also, you have the mobile app that is available, ChatGPT mobile app, and I'm able to carry that around with me everywhere. And
Okay.
so I can just click right into my mentor and I'll dictate it, whatever. Maybe a client called and trying to get a solution for something. I can throw it at the system and see what recommendations come back. I'm in it nonstop all day now, but I'll start here. But if we really look at how to think about using the sequence of these, they are all different chats. Each chat is trained to more specifically solve down for something more narrow. So here on Client Insights, ultimately, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put a business plan together, for my market, right? A lot of times everyone talks about, hey, how do I put together a marketing plan for a listing, or this is where I'm sitting down, and this is probably a good time for everybody to really sit down and go through the perfect persona and define who your best target is, and how to profile them, and how to find them. And I walk from here all the way across, and that will give me a picture, and I can show you a quick output from that process where you see that tool is working in a more narrow frame. So was sitting with a friend here in Houston, and we were putting all of this to the test. And I specialize in medical tenants in Houston, Texas metro area. Typically, practices will have minimum of 3 physicians, 10 to 50 employees total. Many have multiple locations. Providing matrix response based on physician specialty and/or primary, secondary, tertiary care. The first thing I always do when I dictate the prompt in is look to see, did it capture the context of exactly what I'm looking for without trying to be a sniper. Yep, that's a strong niche. It's a great one to be in. Medical office market, deep demand. Here's a matrix that breaks down key tenant characteristics and space requirements by specialty type. And it's giving me a picture of the opportunity here. The next thing it's doing is giving me a picture of trends that are going on in that segment of the market. And the next thing that I asked it, can you add to the matrix a reference to property type, space size, and general facility requirements based on the group size, based on 5 to 10, 10 to 50, and 50 plus employees. And hopefully you can see this. It goes off to the right a little bit. And so it's breaking all of this down, and facility requirements, build out notes. So it's doing it so well that when I get engaged in the discussion with somebody in each of these categories, I'm going to be speaking more of their language and understand more of their needs. I then asked it, can you add to the matrix space requirements for ancillary services related to each? In my background, lent itself to know, and this is a question I should ask, because if I'm going to go be an expert or a real estate coach to these prospects, it's going to help if I know that they have ancillary service needs and space requirements associated with that as well. So once it put that picture together for me, when I looked at it again, because of some of my prior experience, some of it just looked smaller than I expected. And so I asked it to, and this is what I call interrogating the data. So just because you see something that doesn't look right, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can further interrogate the response to get a further refinement of that. And you can tell me to slow down or speed up as we're going through this. And then, can you provide a matrix of specific practice? Now I want to know my prospect list. I want to start getting names, phone numbers, addresses, emails. I have a vision of what the opportunity is, and now I want to go to work. And so, can you provide a matrix of specific practices that are known to be in expansion mode in the Houston, Texas metro area? And please add the source of your information. Again, I'm doing that because I want to determine the credibility of that data. And so you'll see it's identifying the sources here. Can you provide the contact details, name, phone number, email, and professional title for each of these projects? A lot of times you'll get a response back that says, oh, I don't provide private data, or I don't access data behind paywalls. Well, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking for public. And sometimes I'll have to come back and say, no, from public sources. And so provide a list of all medical practice associated with that matrix that are in development or growth mode. Now I'm trying to, I don't want to waste time. There's a lot of medical practices across the Houston metro. I want to know the ones that are most likely to be in motion. And so search, this is where I do something a little different that I've seen other people do. Search all CRE related publications and all medical related publications, and other external sources like business journals. I'll instruct it because, again, it's got a world of information. I'm trying to help it refine where information would be posted about a medical practice's growth ambitions or expansion. And so this is a little something that has provided really good fruit. Search all CRE related publications, all medical, and let's look at what has come back. And here's and then I wanted a streamlined. I also asked it to go back and look at any social media for information. So we see the groups that are growing. Now I'm starting to see who I need to contact, not names yet. Add to the sources information, industry specific business journals, LinkedIn and Facebook. And now it opened up a little bit more. Multiple new sites, here are the sources. And there's one other thing that I've been refining in my approach lately. I'll finish everything I do with, is there anything that, actually, I'm going to do it the way I'm trying to teach. Is there any question I didn't ask that I should have asked? Is there any other approach to planning that I should have taken for building my attack? Now you'll say, well, gosh, Mark, that wasn't very sophisticated what you said. It doesn't have to be. That's what I'm trying to teach. You don't have to be afraid of it. It's not going to fire you. It's not going to get mad at you. Absolutely. And this is a great question to ask because most brokers focus on data and skip the strategy architecture. You've built an excellent foundation. Now let me show you the questions and planning moves. that top tier CRE advisors ask when building a true market dominating medical tenant attack plan.
So Mark, I did this in one of my in one of my queries, and it was actually, I was redoing it. It was something I had done previously in Chat GPT or Grok or one of them. I'm not sure which one. So I went back just to see if it got better, but I did that exact same thing. I asked it, is there something that I should be asking that I'm not? And it really did repopulate and come up with some stuff and analyze what I was trying to get it to analyze, and came up with things that I was not thinking of. So it really, that really does work. I tried that this week.
Yeah, and with some of the additional training that, again, I don't want to get over my skis, but I've built a second version of CRE Mentor, and I've put some incredible assets in play there in terms of knowledge and training on the CRE side. And I'll show you an example of it, but it's not for general release yet. But it does work, because the idea is, if you ever remember me ever saying anything to you about AI, don't be a sniper, because then you only get back information related to the things you know, the triggers that you've learned experientially, and you will miss a whole lot of feedback that you'll be amazed by. And Hank, I'm glad to hear you kind of confirming that. The big thing is to just get over the fear and start talking to it. But look what came out of it. So I have all that information. How do I make it actionable, right? And deliberate, so that I can hit my goals. I can reduce my risk of failing. I have a purpose-filled week in tactics that I'm executing to get to my plan. That's the power of this system.
Hey, Mark.
Yep.
I got another question. So there are a number of free subscription, email updates in terms of periodicals or just journals in the sectors that I try and go after. So I get almost daily email updates on news and things that are happening. I wouldn't necessarily call it public information if you have to type in an email address. Is there a way to make this be able to subscribe or be able to read those, to glean all of that for information as well? These are not paid subscriptions.
Yeah, you were sitting in my conference room last night, weren't you?
If you left your camera on, yes. No.
Yeah. So there was a conversation we had last night. Yeah. I'm trying to aggregate the URLs to various sites of information that are out there. And as you said, it's not paywall stuff, it's publicly available. But the more that I can build that into the GPT, so it knows to look, and we can also exclude things that we know are garbage. Yes, you will be able to, as you saw I did with just some of the local businesses, you could see it started pointing right to Houston Business Journal, Houston Chronicle, and so if I proactively, and I have a population of like 300 right now, but the more we can anchor that in the system, so it's automatically going to, from a context perspective, pulling that into your responses, it'll get incredibly refined for you. I also like the idea of using that to create a summary newscast for me every day, where I can build a prompt knowing what I'm looking for, and it will give me like a highlight reel. because a lot of times, yeah, when I'll just do a general one here, just to show an example. And for those of you who weren't in the last call, when you go into RealNext, you know, this morning we got rid of that navigation pane on the left. You have an apps pane here now. Siri Marketing Hub is now connected to the system. It's not integrated to the data yet. That's coming in the not so distant future. But a shortcut I like to tease people with, if you're doing tenant related work, this is my database, see lease expirations.
Mark, that link works, by the way. The link going from the RealNext CRE to CRE Hub works just fine.
Perfect. Perfect.
I just tried it. Also wanted to just mention, if you want to, because I'm trying to compare when I use the regular chat versus this. We did this last week, but I wanted to do a quick zoning analysis on a particular property here, and I used the old one. I'll call it the old versus the new. Keep it simple. But your version was much more accurate, and it actually detailed out the principal permitted uses, the special permitted uses on the zoning, whereas the older version wasn't able to do it. So I thought that was interesting. So it was, yeah, I know it's just kind of a sniper shot, but just want you to know.
No, thank you. I love that. And that's what so I'm going to show you something I was doing last night. And again, in the next session, I'm going to be going through this in a little bit more detail, but I'm a broker selling hospitality in Orlando, Florida. Who would be the best prospects to buy this property? 15920 Northwest Bing. I cut and paste the property attributes in here. In hospitality, this is not a branded hotel. This is an independent. It's got 60 rooms. And my ask was create a buyer database, name cities, owner groups, phone, email, if public, a targeted outreach message. Put this into a matrix, explain why this is best list and rate from highest to lowest fit. Now, so what I'm doing in the new model, remember I spent better part of 10 years building Argus internationally. And one of my partners, Jeff Fisher, he's the guy who wrote the book on real estate finance and investment that's used in almost all the grad schools. He built the NCREIF index. And so he and I had been working since 2017, playing on what could be done in OpenAI. But we hadn't applied it into the reality that is here now. And so I decided last night to start, I put everything, all that knowledge and learning up into the GPT, and let's look at what came out of that. Top buyer matrix, independent 60 key hotel. It's defining the evaluation matrix. So again, this is one click. And why they fit, active access, boom, 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 boom. So it's giving me a good start. Why this is the best list. Ranked fit, explanation for each one, which again is going to guide you when you approach, you're going to speak their language in terms of the fit when you're talking to each of them. Targeted outreach email, then I said, is there anything I should have asked that I did not ask for building my best prospect list? Build a complete expanded buyer list, put it into the matrix from. And so the first thing I had to do is define a range on the and again by section. And if I have this, I can get the phone number. And I'm building it in a way that what I'm working with is the ability to either export that or give you a download into an importable file right into RealNext. Ideally, what I want is once I get the integration done between this and RealNext, your ability to just take that output, put it right into a prospecting group, right into your database, so you can get to work on that, and or create your OM, anything else. This also brings back a lot of data that is not readily found elsewhere. Here's another one that fired through. This is a little preview of the next session. My client has asked me to find off-market restaurants with the specs outlined, and here we go. My off-market search strategy for these towns. And then I added the script, build a complete list by city, then rank. This is one of the things to learn about the system and how you prompt it. I still see a lot of people stopping at the first response they get. And okay, this is how the data comes back as this blob, and then you want to try to get it organized. No, you can interrogate it and you can guide the data so that it will put it into the form of the output that you want. So that's what these subsequent prompts are doing. So what is the structure that I want? Build a complete list by city, then rank highest to lowest probability for each within each city. Use these criteria to focus and strengthen your recommendation for the target markets. This criteria. Use external news from restaurant reviews. So Hank, this goes a little bit to what you were bringing up. The more I can, or we as a group, you can start flooding me with different sources that I can put into the GPT, the more relevant the information is going to be and nuanced into the system. You know, we're doing it on our own, but you all can help to accelerate to even make this more valuable to you. And then business journals and other local news, put this into a matrix. And so I know, gosh, if people are, as people are getting older, they're trying to do their succession planning or exit. And so how do you know all this stuff? It's looking at those resources. So, but it always repeats it here better than I wrote it. Building a full matrix across all the target towns with ranked off-market restaurant leads will take a fair bit of digging. Here's how I propose to proceed, and I'll share my initial findings to start. And so just follow it, and here's what came out city by city. Former tenants out, the restaurant space available, longtime Italian. how long would it take you ordinarily to put together a list like this? And then it even goes on how I'd use this list in practice. So, number one, don't be a sniper on the first query. Think about it like this. I'm just talking to a friend and I'm telling him my problems, right? I hit the mic and I talk. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The system is smart enough to figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish. And interrogate the data as you're going through. I'm trying to further refine it without being too tight. So guidance, but not specific enough to stop new information from reaching me. And when once I started adding this, I started getting incredible results. Use external news from restaurant reviews, business journals, and other, because people put news releases, press releases out. On the medical one, there were on almost every one of the groups that were in the prospect list, there was information the broker had no idea about, because it's hard to keep up with all of that. So Hank, you're trying to do a good job of keeping up with all news. And if, as a minimum on your own, create your own list that you can copy and paste in and say, and look in all these sources of information so that it can update your matrix actively. And another thing people don't realize they can do is come in and, once they put this here, they can act and they get the results. They start it all over, or they come down the bottom and they'll try to, you can come up, if you saw something and you said, oh, I can if I'd only asked this, just come back up and edit this, tighten up and run it again. And it will take that. So if you took this general query, Hank, and you put those additional sources in, it would look to those sources and it identifies them, so you know where that information came from. So I want to pause. Andrea, Angel, Charlotte, Chris, George, Hank, Hetty, Helen. Jeff, if you could just open mic. I see Paul's hand up. If you could open mic for everybody, ask me questions.
I got a question for you, Mark, as well. I don't want to keep dominating this whole thing, keep asking you questions, but I think I've seen you or somebody else was like telling it to go and look at LinkedIn for some of these target companies. I've done that before, and it tells me that it's not able to extract content. I'm looking back at it. I'm not able to assist with scraping or extracting content from social media platforms like LinkedIn. How did you or somebody else that did that? I saw them look at that and get some information. How does one go about doing that?
I think the response that I put, that happened yesterday. I wish I could remember which one I did it on. It gave me that response, and I said, don't be absurd. I said, I'm not asking you to log into their account. You can do a search in Google, and it'll bring up, like if I were to pull up Charlotte as an example, it would definitely show Charlotte's profile. She's there in LinkedIn, she is, and I can look at it. I didn't have to log all the way through. And so again, it's about the not being afraid to interrogate back. And so I'll invite it to do that. And usually I get good results. The other thing I do is sometimes people will ask it to look at just the person. I say, look at the company LinkedIn profile for any post, any news, any information, because that's going to give a lot of clues sometimes about where they're expanding, why they're expanding. It's just a wealth of information. Look at the company websites, and it extracts out the things that are relevant to what you're asking it. And as soon as you go to a person query, its first response is always going to be, I don't give phone numbers, emails, and other out. And you'll see like here, I'll ask it to give me the company limited social media in this one. Here we go. And so you'll see it's giving it back to me, hey, where it exists. But I'll also ask it to identify the company email. And I'll ask it to identify the person, the contact that they suggest. If I have a company email, it's got a domain, like realnext.com. If you ask it to return a company contact email, you'll see like first initial, last name. So if I have the person there, the name, but I don't have their email, I can hbabin at AW Commercial, and I'm probably going to be right. And so it's I wish I could pull up an example real quick for you, and let me. We could take it through.
Mark, while you're looking through that, could I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned, the gentleman, I think it was Paul, just mentioned it, regarding his old GPT, we have the version 5.0, well, versus the Mentor is 2.0, correct?
That's just a version of the Mentor. The GPT that's being used, 5.1, if you look in the model, and you brought up something that is really important for me to share with you.
Because what I see on my end, it's my CRE Mentor 0.2, but right next to it, it says it's not highlighted. It says 5.1.
Yeah, I'm pulling this up for you real quick.
Thanks.
So ChatGPT has different versions. They keep announcing their different versions. And I put this up, and let me see if I can share this with all of you in the chat. So all of you should have just gotten this in the chat on your side. And it explains the differences because you can use different models, and it tells you what you get when you do. A lot of you are still using 4. And here's your free versus paid, the first tier. So it tells you the progression and the difference in what you're going to experience. And so right now, I just choose to use 5.1 as I'm testing. It was just released. And so I'm testing the limits of it. Yeah, it is a lot faster. And with their coding, I'm now able to generate, again, I want to be careful not to get too far. And I'm sure Charlotte's going to call me after she sees this. Let's see, marketing. Okay, this is in Florida. Okay, so if Charlotte wants to conquer the world, there's certain things the older models like 4 couldn't do, Hank. And so what you see here in this new one that I'm building on top of being able to leverage 5.1, I downloaded all the comps, multifamily transactions for Florida into a spreadsheet from my database, and I uploaded it. Plus sign, uploaded, here's the file. And here's what I asked: generate a transaction analysis of the attached data, show by year, by county, also map visually. Do the same with trend analysis geographically by county and by city. We are a brokerage firm focused on multifamily and investment sales. We're looking to expand our team statewide in Florida. Based on the analysis and trends, what should be our top priorities for deploying new brokers, and tell me why. Also use external sources of information regarding multifamily development and sales activity to generate a plan of attack for me. And I couldn't do this in 4.0 at this level. And so it's generating the visualizations. And it's total time, it took about a minute to run through a couple hundred, I think it was 150,000 transaction records. Transaction analysis from your data set, statewide by year. It's showing the trends by county. And if you're a broker, you want to know how many transactions are happening, where they're happening, why they're happening, where and how to position yourself into that, whether there are enough transactions even going on for you to hit your goals.
I'm going through that right now, Mark. I want to see where the velocity is if I got to switch, locations. So yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Fast growth counties, by city, your real trading desk. Here we go. Volume. External market data, development and capital. So it's telling me again what's going on, what the drivers are. And so I can get pretty committed to a plan based on this information. And let me keep going. How I'd attack the market strategy by segment. And this was just one I did for today, exercise in the use case side. But sharing here, concrete deployment checklists, break down the entire data set by asset size. And what did I do here? See, reply with, yeah. I should zoom in a little bit to make this easier for everyone. And my guess is this would take you a lot of work usually to kind of organize this and put your business plan together year by year. And I had literally a couple of minutes into this, and I could spend my time really consuming it and putting together my tactical plan.
Is there a way we could convert from the 2.0 to the 5.1?
Well, remember the 5.1 is related to your subscription. So like if I come in here, this is my account with GPT. And General. Nope, it's not. Where? Oh, it's
I believe it's the arrow that's next to the 5.1 mark.
what's that?
The arrow, the down arrow on next to the 5.1 on top. Oh, no.
Yeah. This is how you choose. This is how you choose. I have the pro version, but you don't need the pro version. So what you want to do is, what I was trying to do is show you they have the free, they have the advanced, and so forth. That's what I sent you here in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, they have the free, and the paid version, I believe, begins like at $20 a month. This is what I was actually trying to get to. And so that should be in the chat for you all to just copy off. But honestly, I don't think you need more than the $20 a month version to generate. And I test it across all the versions. What you want to be doing is setting its auto generally. I don't like instant. I just get crap results out of instant. And a lot of times I'll use thinking. And 5.1 I'm actively testing right now. So yeah, I found 5.0 good, 4.0 is good, but I'm able to do a lot more with the media side and the, you know, what I can do to structure the data into forms that I want to be able to consume it. But don't pay attention when you see 2. Oh, that's just a name. That is on the version here.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, so I basically have done what you said already. I pay $20 a month. I have 5.1. And with your persona, I have 4.0. But that's, you know, I don't see that as being an impingement. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
you know, this is incredible. So, you know, I'm not going to get caught up in 4.1, 4.0 and 5.1. The $20 is worth it, guys. You know, I've been working on, I've been using my $20 well spent all week. So.
Yeah. Like I said,
I agree. I mean,
it.
it's such a useful tool to integrate it. And I'm a chat girl, and so I guess my question is on some of the prompts, because sometimes you get too friendly with your chat, it just really becomes your friend. But on some of the prompts, because it's going to begin to write the way you begin to extract the text, so you have it to produce your assets, as I would call them, right? So you've got some, I'm looking at your screen here. I've opened all 4 of them. Let me see here. From the Capwise to, like, Capwise is at it doesn't matter, is at a 4. You've got CR Market is at a 4, Market Trends. You got CR Mentors at a 5.1. So it will generate, if you want some graphics, you can kind of put it in there and it'll generate some graphics for you. Is that kind of what you're saying? Did I miss something?
With the 5.1, and that's what I've been testing. Last night I was in here testing it exhaustively, and it was successfully generating images I wanted it to create, things that didn't exist, but I wanted it to create the image to support what I was doing. The graphs and charts, and so by next week I'll have, next week's Thanksgiving. So by the following week, I'll have a lot more experience to report back to you on 5.1. But I found that the ability to, yesterday was the first time I was able to do a very successful export of all the findings of the data from the screen. Before I was having to cut and paste it over into a spreadsheet and blah, 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 or a presentation. And now what I was playing with last night is I was creating a template that I was uploading and saying, okay, take the findings and fill in. So I was looking at for property information as an example. And I gave it like, I think it's 15 addresses. So find me all the information related to these 15 properties, put it into a matrix. And so give me a property matrix. And I had it push right into my spreadsheet in the form. I think I only found 1 or 2 pieces of data that misaligned because it misinterpreted a field when bringing it over. But for it to get that close to it was unbelievable. And with RealNext, what working with the team to do is to just be able to push that right into a RealNext import that comes right into the system and allows you to put it to work. But that's what I'm seeing in 5.1. But I'm not deep enough to confirm all those attributes. Within 2 weeks should be gold and be able to give you a much better and accountable response with tips and tricks.
I got one more question, Mark. On the top of each page, right? Each subcategory, your CR Mentor, etc. You have the prompts that are there. Is it possible that you could share a list of prompts? Because sometimes once you get further into your chat and into your chat, that top recommending prompts may go away. So is there like maybe a little cheat sheet that you could, I hope I'm not just asking for myself, but is there a little cheat sheet that
it's the perfect question. It's the perfect question. And that's also going to be a huge value to all of it as this community expands and the participation this expands. I'm building, again, I like to test on myself first, then I'll sit down with a smaller group and see how everything is flowing. But I'm building a massive library of sequential queries. Like you saw my approach, right? I put my opening volley prompt in, but then it's how you interrogate it to the next stage that gets really fantastic usable outputs. And so I'm putting them together and I keep testing and refining. And next week is Thanksgiving. The week after I'm on vacation, but I'm still going to try to plug in on the Friday sessions for that. If not, it'll be the week after. I hope to give you a library of prompts across various tasks that I think will be invaluable. And I want to invite other people to start contributing to a library that will improve the effectiveness for everybody. Eventually, I'll have it for the group of you. I'll have it put into the site, like the new prompt sequences, where it'll be dynamic. And as we're getting it, we'll publish it and make it available within the portal here. I'll have a little something up here called new. And so I'm just trying to think of the best way to deliver it for you. I also plan on working with Jeff to create a little bit of a newsletter of tips and tricks that we can send out to all of you. if I feel like that's going to be the best way to get it to you, but probably the best is going to be putting it right here. So as you're coming in every day, you're able to consume it. Did I talk to you about the GPT mobile yet? Because I have 2 minutes on this one. And have all of you downloaded ChatGPT's mobile app?
Yes.
Okay. If you have not,
No, I haven't.
okay, let me show you that in motion.
That phone link is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's
It is.
okay. So this is on my phone, and you'll notice I can get right to generated property analysis for 504 Murphy Road, Stafford, Texas.
Mark, how do you get those categories, subcategories on the left side menu? I can only get 2 of them.
Here in the chat, these.
Yes, yes.
When you open it, they should stick there when you link through from CRE Marketing Hub. When you go into one from there, it should show up there. And if it ever does not, because it also keeps your previous chats, your logs, you can probably go to one that you recognize. I do that often, and it'll bring that right up and just start a new chat from it, Charlotte. And I'll look into, I'll try to find an answer the next time for how to pin those, because a lot of people have so many. But I'll research it. So
Yeah, I may have to open do a chat first before it pins it, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why you see all of mine kind of lighting up on the left. The one you can tell right away which one I use. This is what just came up. All I said, generate property analysis. And so you got photos.
Is this an app on your phone or is this on your computer?
This is an app on my phone. So what you see is I'm showing you my phone screen on my computer. Let me get all this off. Yeah, this is my phone. This is this right here. You're seeing this screen up here on my computer. And so I'm using, this is using my phone. So I clicked on the talk and I dictated that in, and I've got photos. A lot of this you don't even have in your database, but when we get done writing the scripts, I'm hoping that you'll be able to, at the end of it, just go click, push all this information right into my database. And hopefully you won't have to pay so much for data in the future.
So you have your phone linked to your computer?
Yeah. If you have it works. So with Windows, they have something called Phone Link, and you can connect your iPhone and or your Android through that. It's on all Microsoft computers, and it allows, so I don't have to keep going to my phone. I can pick up calls here. I can dial from my computer. I can use any app that's on my phone. Yeah, it's great. And Apple computers, iOS, they have a natural link with the iOS, the iPhone, but not so much. And it's not as good as this.
Right.
Mark,
Just
we're,
a quick question before we log off. I'm new to ChatGPT, so I'm unable to navigate it as efficiently as you are. I mean, you're swimming through it. I'm barely treading water. Where can I go to learn how to use this tool more efficiently?
The books that are on the site. So when you came into the site here, let me get back to, and then I do have to get on the next session where you could join me as well, and I'll answer some of this. But here, I would, right here, mastering content creation, but this one here is really good. Leveraging AI for commercial real estate success. Just download it, it's free. We're making it available to everyone.
Okay.
And then again, as I'm learning where everyone's at, I'm going to try to keep doing a better job of helping you walk and run at the same time. And hopefully this has been a good coaching session for everyone today. I'm still learning how to convey some of the tips and tricks effectively for everybody. And it's a lot of times I have to empty my brain in terms of what I know and go back and try to remember first time, what did I encounter? And I'm trying to do a good job of teaching you the possibilities while teaching the tips and tricks. And if you have suggestions or you think you have things you think I could do better or additional things you'd like to hear about, shoot me an email.
Okay.
All right, I have to end this one and go to the next session, and I hope to continue for those who want to there, where I'm going to do a little deeper dive on 3 use cases and answer any remaining questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.